All right. Well, 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think we should kick off.
Yes.
Excellent. So, before we share our screen and kick off, oh, we're already sharing our screen. Before we kick off, I'd like to do some very warm welcomes to some new friends joining us, but also some existing friends and clients and people that are passionate about digital marketing, direct bookings, and PPC. But mostly, I'm excited to introduce Miss Tracy, our PPC lead at Heads on Pillows.
Thank you, Sam, for introducing me. So my name is Tao, and he called me Tracy. So me and my team at Heads on Below, we are here to help a lot of our clients to increase their direct booking, either hotel or F&B. So I'm here. I'm so pleased to share with you what I'm about to share today. Yes.
Amazing. So pleased to have you here, Tracy. So, to kick things straight off, we're pretty excited about the topic today because I think it's never been more important for hotels. We're here to talk about our direct booking formula and how you can use PPC or pay per click marketing to reduce dependency on OTAs. But before we do that, we'll give a quick overview of Heads on Pillows. I know a lot of you joining are very familiar with us and what we do, but for the new faces and new attendees, Heads on Pillows is a specialist digital marketing agency focused exclusively on the hospitality industry. So we work with hotels, resorts, accommodation providers, and tourism experience to do one thing, and that's to increase direct bookings. We work across a lot of markets. So we're actually joining today from Ho Chi Minh City in
Yes.
Vietnam, but we also have an office in Bangkok, Melbourne, and recently in the UK as well, in London. But we work across a whole range of markets and we do a lot of different things. So today we're talking about PPC or pay-per-click advertising, but we also do SEO, GEO, helping businesses show up on AI search, web design and development, branding, and social media management. And the reason we like to display this very exciting and growing map, which I think a couple of weeks ago didn't have a couple of those locations, so it keeps expanding, is just to show the diversity and the breadth of types of clients that we work with. So we have amazing hotels here in Vietnam targeting Korean tourists, clients in Australia targeting domestic market, clients in Bali targeting US travelers, Thailand targeting Russians, and it's so diverse and so extensive. And what we're really excited to talk about today is how to increase direct bookings across the board using PPC strategies. Before we get into that, just a quick snapshot of some of the amazing brands that we work with. We couldn't do this without our clients, but you'll see here a lot of big international brands. You've got your Accor, IHG, Marriott, Radisson, but then a lot of amazing independent and boutique hotels and resorts as well. Which gets us into the main event.
Yes.
Our direct booking formula, and how you can use PPC to reduce OTA dependency. Today, we'll be going over the real cost of relying on OTAs, also a bit of a shift in how you can take back control as a hotelier or a marketer. We've got our patent direct booking formula via PPC and also a live Q&A at the end. So if you've got questions, we would love to hear from them. And you've got our expert Tracy here today who will be able to give you amazing detailed answers from really the expert that's doing the work every day.
So during the talk show, at the webinar, please for sure leave us the questions and we can check it out later.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to enter them in the chat, or if you're really brave at the end, you can turn on your camera as well. We'd love to see your pretty faces, whichever format you prefer. So we kind of want to open with a question today. How much did you actually keep from your last 100 bookings? This is an interesting question that we often ask new clients when we're either pitching or kicking projects off, because what we hear often is hotels are busy, especially in markets like Vietnam and Thailand, where we often work with properties that could even be like 90%, 100% occupancy. But often they're so reliant on OTAs that the costs mean that actually the amount of revenue that's left over after they pay commission bills, after they pay operational expenses, all of these costs, they're not actually getting 100 bookings worth of revenue. It's often a much smaller number. Just some stats. We love numbers at Heads on Pillows. We're very data driven as an agency. On average, your OTAs are charging between 15 to 20% per booking. And what we actually see is the average value of a direct booking is significantly higher than the average value from an OTA. If you look over on the left, this gap has actually widened since kind of pre-COVID times, where we're seeing year on year, the value of a direct booking is increasing at a faster rate than the value of bookings through other channels. And this is really important because hoteliers often focus on things like RevPAR, things like your occupancy levels, things like length of stay, but the actual revenue that you're getting for your bookings can be drastically improved if you focus on direct bookings in part of your strategy.
Yeah, I agree. So I actually have a friend working in along the side like Agoda and Booking.com. So I heard there's a change like the different commission rate based on region. Is it correct?
Different commission rate per region, but also a lot of the OTAs now are incentivizing to show up on page one or to show up as like a preferred or highlighted option. Often you pay an extra 10% or even up to 20% on top of the commission to be prioritized. And it's not unheard of to hear about hotels paying 35% in commission in different regions, which is not loose change and can be pretty drastically impactful on your bottom line if you're paying that amount of commission for bookings.
Yeah, that's a huge amount.
Totally. But in saying that, we're not here to call the OTAs evil. I actually used to say OTAs are a necessary evil. That was kind of my tagline or my catchphrase when we were building Heads on Pillows. But they're actually, I would say, a necessary part of the equation. We're not telling you to switch off your listings. We're not telling you to only offer direct bookings. In an ideal world, that would be amazing. But in reality, we need multi-channels to build a sustainable business. What we're saying is you have a choice and you can focus on strategies, particularly PPC that we're about to get into, to boost your share of direct bookings and drastically improve the bottom line for your business. And this is another common query that we hear from our clients. Your hotel is fully booked, so why do margins feel thin? And when we first start these client relationships, often this is what the conversation looks like. And after a few months of PPC marketing and sometimes other strategies, the margins start to grow and the business starts to feel more sustainable. So the real cost of playing by OTA rules is more than just commission. So, of course, we have 15%, 20%, or even boosted listings on OTAs costing up to 35% in some cases. But there's so many other drawbacks of only relying on OTAs. First of all, OTAs restrict your ability to offer discounts and different rates. A lot of them enforce price parity, where if you're $100 on one OTA website, you have to offer $100 on your direct channels. Not only that, we end up paying more to show up on page one or to be a highlighted listing. But the next two sort of limitations or maybe rules that you have to abide by, I would say are often overlooked, but they're almost just as important, if not more critical. The first one is the guest data blackout. When you get a booking through an OTA, often you don't have the guest's email address. Some don't even offer their phone number. And much like that guest, you don't know anything about them. They don't know anything about you outside of the photos you have on the listing. And in addition to that, the branding limitations are so narrow that you often end up just looking like another number on a long list of similar hotels. It's very difficult to show off what makes you special and what makes you shine when you're on an OTA listing compared to your own direct social media, website, and other owned channels.
So I think I quite agree with you on this, especially advertisement and BBC. We live by a like data driven. So in this case, can be guest data. So obviously, due to uh, like privacy that concern, we actually won't have the access to like private, like direct email and phone number, but the brand will have. And like by using like paid ad, we can utilize that data, but like obviously apply like ensure the privacy concern. We can like retarget them or like use those signal and we create a similar profile. So we can use those data to target people who has similar behavior, and from there it can be easier to convert.
Totally. And I guess that big benefit of any PPC strategy is the more data you have, the better that strategy becomes. So if you're running ads for a few months and you're starting to accrue customer profile data, emails, phone numbers, it will just get better and better, not only as your audience list grows, but as the PPC channels can better refine what works and what doesn't work within your strategy. So we don't want to be in this position where we feel like we're running the operations, we're doing all the hard work, doing the hard yards, and someone else is running the business. And when you're purely reliant on OTAs, you really do lose control over your business. Direct channels win that power back and win your business control back. And the exciting thing is that shift is actually starting to happen.
Yeah.
Just in the last few years, when Heads on Pillows has been growing and operating in the hospitality industry, we've seen direct bookings really raise in profile and raise in the understanding of the importance within the industry. And so many businesses are leveraging things like PPC to really take back control of their business. Which is why direct bookings is more than a channel and it's more than a saving. We've spoken about the pricing parity. We've spoken about the guest data ownership, but you also have so much more potential. You can look at upsells, whether it's things like early check-ins or room upgrades to secure that direct booking, which is often a very small cost to the business, but a big value add for the guest, and loyalty potential. The data we have at Heads on Pillows shows that direct bookings are so much more likely to become repeat business.
Yes.
And I'm personally of the opinion that this is really because they engage with your brand from the first touch point. On OTAs, I'll say it again, you're just another number. You're the same sort of photos that you can see on the website, but side by side with so many other hotels and resorts. When someone comes to you through your TikTok or through your website or your Instagram account, or even on platforms like Yandex or Naver for Russians and Korean travelers, they're really engaging with your brand from that very first touch point. And it's an ability for you to really share your story with them and bring them into your ecosystem. So long before they check in, they're already part of the story and they're already valuing what makes you special.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I think it's important to make them understand your brand, and like it could take a year in
Totally.
case of your Korean trip.
Yeah.
So it could take a few months to consider, because I think in Southeast Asia we have a behavior of like planning ahead. So it's very important to stay visible before they actually book.
Totally. We were just saying yesterday, I was
Yeah.
planning a recent trip, and some of the hotels that I would book would literally have been discovered a year ago. And you start to follow their Instagram, you see the content that they're resharing, like UGC content, in-house content, and you already feel part of the story. You already want to be part of it long before you're even considering booking. But once you do take that trip, that's when you convert, and it becomes sort of an immediate option to book direct. A few more metrics. So we love our numbers at Heads on Pillows. This is very interesting, and I was actually quite surprised by some of these metrics. But if we look at the way OTAs are operating in the PPC market here in Vietnam and Thailand, 93% of the Google Ads share in search goes to OTAs, and 99.5% goes to OTAs in Thailand. You might be thinking, how can we compete with that? And the same, 75% on Facebook in Vietnam, 71% in Thailand. I also know outside of this, PPC expenditure in markets like Thailand, I think is up like 33% year on year. But this is actually an opportunity, because what this means is OTAs are doing this for a reason. OTAs know spending on ads is going to bring bookings and it's going to get an ROI. But the exciting thing about being an independent hotel or part of an international brand is when you run your own ads, you can actually overtake OTAs, both on a lower cost per click you can achieve, but you can also drive a better on-page experience and ultimately drive more conversions and bookings. So these numbers are quite shocking in the amount that they skew to OTAs, but it's actually a huge opportunity for independent or properties that are part of brands to leverage this sort of traffic to drive direct bookings through your own channels. Cool. So finally, PPC is not an ad expense. It does cost money, but it's really an investment in guest acquisition. And when you're running PPC ad campaigns with Heads on Pillows, there's a measurable return. So you get to see the ROI, the ROAS, or return on ad spend for your ad campaigns. So every dollar or dong or baht that you're spending on ads, you can see how many bookings you're getting and really start to draw a strong correlation between your investment and what you're getting for that investment.
Yes.
Which takes us to Tracy's keynote about the different channels and how they can serve roles in the traveler journey.
Okay. To start my part, I'm gonna introduce you this platform. So I think a lot of people here might know about this already. These are the major platform we're having right now, especially in Southeast Asia. So I think the top three is Google Ads, Meta Ads, and TikTok Ads. That is what we probably seen through before. And now, especially with the demand of like Korean markets and Russian markets, in Hassan below, we are about to expand to these platforms. Exciting news, we actually have a upcoming Yandex ad campaign, and we will so happy to share when the campaign start running and the results in the near future.
Can't wait to see that.
Yes.
It's a huge opportunity for Southeast Asia, particularly.
So let me go through the briefly on Google Ads. So the Google Ads by the name, we have a multiple platform. A major one is Google Search, YouTube, and any banner display on the website. So we're gonna go briefly to the format you can see on the internet. You can see the major one is search here. So like recently on the search display ability, they start to add more like visual. So now there can be a very bronze images you can see about your property. And then this is the display. So for display, this can have a lot of like multiple platform and size. So this is just one example. And you can see here, major of the Google Ads is a combination of text and images. So they're gonna using machine learning, basically something related to AI, and like mix and match to deliver like a correct message. And they think it's gonna help you convert more. So this is the case of our running campaign with Vocal Nyacha.
Such a important campaign
Yeah.
for our agency, and also such a great story because this is an iconic property in Nha Trang, but in, I would say, a very competitive market where there's so many amazing options. Actually, there's such good kind of value for money luxury options in the market as well, where it's quite you're really swamped with choice when it comes to a holiday to Nha Trang. So standing out with the PPC strategy, particularly on Google, YouTube, even within platforms like Gmail, is really important to stay front of mind for your potential guests, but also to secure those bookings. So Tracy, maybe you can share really briefly who sees these ads, and why do they see them?
I'm gonna go quickly.
Yeah.
So for search, basically we are buying the search intent. So for example, if you're searching for five-star hotel in Nha Trang, this is the likely ad we're gonna show up for. So for search is like whatever search term you like typing on the Google ad, Google search. For the YouTube and like display, discover, and Gmail, basically we try to target people who have similar behavior. So Google has the ability to group the behavior of whatever you do online.
Right.
So you search on the Google search, you search on Google Map, and those search behavior, they're gonna group you in a intent. So for example, if you search Hoi An Hotel, they might group you into the people who interested in trip to Vietnam.
Right.
Yeah. So those are the behavior we try to matching with our clients.
Amazing. Cool.
So now it's Google Ads. Next is Meta Ads. So Meta Ads basically the ads that cover Facebook, Instagram, and now there's Threads. And like, I think upcoming we're gonna have more like WhatsApp ads possibly. So similar the grouping mechanism, Meta also like observe your engagement on online. So if you engage with any ads or social posts of a five-star hotel, they're gonna group your behavior with similar interests, like luxury hotel or like boutique hotel. Even like they can define if you are interested in like beaches destinations.
Right. So that's really interesting that you just shared that because I think a lot of people worry about Facebook and Instagram that it's kind of like a bit of a black box and the clicks are, you pay per click, but you don't really know what happens with the clicks or who's seeing them. But from what you're sharing, there really is a refined strategy around who sees the ads, who clicks on them, and building out those profiles and personas to make sure you're not burning through budget for just anyone.
Yeah. So big like based on the goal and the target audience profiling. So either like could be couple or like family traveling.
Right.
We will try to like map out those signal on each platform accordingly.
Amazing.
So that's the ability.
We actually ran some ads for this webinar,
Yes.
and I know some of the signups came through threads as well, which is really nice to see.
Yes. So here is one example of meta ads. So right now on the screen, you can share it's like video ads on the right side, and on the left side, you see like three images. This format is called carousel. So it's with the carousel format, you can showcase like different images for your messaging. So this is for the Albion of Hotel Desert. And I think we extract these two best performing ads for the property. Yeah.
I love this campaign because it is such an iconic restaurant in an iconic hotel, but it's also a relatively new entrant to the Saigon culinary market, which means although it's such an amazing restaurant, the diners are so spoiled for choice in this city. So standing out in a competitive market really requires a dynamic digital ad strategy that relies not just on targeting people that are interested in, say, fine dining or culinary experiences, but also retargeting and building out those audience, basically moving from awareness and clicks through to conversions.
Yes. So the things that Sam just shared is belongs to the roadmap we are about to share as well.
Exciting.
So
Always getting ahead of myself.
yeah. So let's move on to the roadmap. So here in Hassan below, this is our approach. So you can see the fourth step here. Basically, first, we want to try to define the audience. So this audience will be a collaborations between the agency and the clients. We want to see, okay, for Albion, for example, who do they find potential? There are gonna be a lot of factors, and then we move on to the next steps. So we define who are they. We want to deliver a suitable content. So we need to tailor around that and keep testing. And then moving on to the next part where, okay, now they see the ads. Now they clicks to the ads. So what's next? We need to make the journey of either it's like restaurant reservations or hotel booking easy. So the destinations, especially in case of hotel, is the website. We need to make it super easy and like very friendly.
Right.
And the last part is where advertisement come in. When we have a lot of signal like that, either like ads is good, audience is good, or the market is good. Now we need to scale up. So basically the signal is there. We need to scale correctly. Yeah. So let's dig into like more detail. So the first part of define the right audience, usually like in terms of advertising wise, this is about demography. Demography is about age, gender, interest, locations, and then they're gonna be behavior. So as I shared before of Meta ads and Google ads, there's signal, right? So we want to map out, okay, they are the one that we want to target, and these are the signal they are very likely to do. So from there, we have a map out profile of those audience on ads.
I think the behavior is so important in that audience mapping
Yeah.
because a lot of you on this webinar and a lot of our clients do operate in a luxury space. We work with some amazing hotels and resorts globally that are often at a very premium price point. And I always kind of like to use the metaphor that me personally,
Yeah.
like I love Bentley cars. It's my favorite car brand, but I'm not driving a Bentley yet. And you need to make sure when you map your interests,
Yeah.
you also need to map behaviors because a lot of people that may be showing up on Instagram and Facebook love really nice things, but it doesn't mean that they're going to buy them.
Yeah.
So when we map out our audiences, particularly in the luxury segment, but also in other areas, for example, like accessibility or even like areas around geography, we need to make sure that our users don't only match the demographics of interest, but also they match behavior
Yes.
so they can actually purchase. It's a really important part of the strategy.
Yeah. Also, locations is very interesting factor for our Australian clients. So we have defined, okay, a certain suburbans or like the postcode inside Melbourne or Sydney is actually belongs to like a wealthy and luxury audience.
Right.
And after like research to have that behavior, the campaign actually become like performing much better. So I think with the right audience, we need a little bit more research as well. And that is what we always do.
Excellent.
So this is the case of Red Da Nang, and I think we can have a more context. The Red Da Nang, when they work with us, they are like in pre-opening phase, and they have a lot of challenge. Obviously, Da Nang is a super challenging market. They have a lot of competitors, especially more and more five-star or like luxury hotels opening. So when they work with us, thanks to Sam bring the clients in with us and a very supportive client as well. Do you want to share a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, not all thanks to me, but that's very flattering. We have a whole amazing team that really delivered on bringing Radisson Red to Heads on Pillows. But what is really interesting about this case study is this property did open to Tracy's point in a very competitive market. Da Nang as a city, it's crazy. The first time I went there, I think is maybe 10 years ago. And there's just like kilometers and kilometers of highway and what was just like empty land that is now just back to back luxury hotels and resorts, beachfront, inner city, amazing properties. So opening a hotel in Da Nang in a competitive market is, I would say, a bold move, but also a logical move with the right strategy because Da Nang as a city, it is taking off. I think it's something like 27 flights from Korea per week. There's like domestic flights, all intra-Asia. So it's a big opportunity, but it's also a challenge. And if you don't get your kind of go-to-market strategy right, including paid ads, it can be disastrous. But if you do get it right, it can be amazing. And I think this is one of those success stories that you'll see the results in a minute. But with our Facebook ads, Instagram ads strategy, we're able to drive not just leads, not just clicks, but real tangible revenue driving bookings. So I'll let you go over the strategy before we talk about the outcome.
So for this client, with a given challenge, we define, okay, now is the time to win domestic first, but domestic with a conditions of Korean expat. So obviously we have a growing Korean expat community, especially inside Vietnam, and that is a must tap on because either they like Korean live in Korea or like the Korean they love to travel, especially to Da Nang. And these after research and mapping, these are the behavior we can show you on the screen. So we find that like people from 20 to 55, like they love to travel and the demographic we want to target is either like Korean speaking or English speaking, like language speaking. So the behavior is they must love traveling. So that is the basic like interest we want to target. And the interest below in the box is the ability of meta targeting. So they can somehow define your interest. Is it like vacations? Is it like Vietnam tourists? Or even like business traveling? So who like the hotel that want to target more business traveler? Now there's concept of leisure. So there is potential.
I love pleasure. I want to live the pleasure life.
So moving on to the next part, the second step, we need to adapt the content to such behavior. So now we have the behavior and we need to deliver a messaging to address the pain point. The pain point can be understood as, okay, what do they want? All right, what are they interested on? And then come up with a tailor messaging. So now we can have a brief content of what we did for the red Da. So these after finding the possible profile, we find that like the user of red Da is very active, quite modern as well. So they need a like experience, and this is what we want to show them, like the real lifestyle.
I think what stands out to me for this content, and this is definitely a critical factor in so many hospitality businesses, particularly in Southeast Asia, but I would say even more so for Red and Da Nang, to your point, Tracy, about the audience being really active and liking to not just experience a property, but the surrounding regions. But the content is very much lifestyle oriented. It's very much Da Nang oriented as well. And we're so lucky when we work with Radisson Red Da Nang because they have amazing in-house content team as
Yeah.
well. And this is one of those great success stories where it really is a two-way street. And we've been able to really leverage some of their content to build out that lifestyle profile through the PPC strategies. But you can see there's touches of the rooms, there's touches of the amenities, but it really focuses on Da Nang as a region.
Yeah.
And you also see the really strong brand. It sounds obvious, but red as a color it embodies Radisson Red. We're also lucky enough to work with the Radisson Red in Cebu in the Philippines. And having that bold brand and that point of difference, it's such a superpower when it comes to standing out in sometimes saturated markets.
Yes. So this another statement of me is no single channel works alone. So I have shared a lot of like ad platform. They can work as like meta ads only cannot work as effective. And usually my recommendation is at least two ads platform. So meta ads also have a possible to like retargeting people who already engaged with your ads. But right now the behavior of booking is still very such like such behavior. I know like they start to like drift to like social conversions, but the majority of like booking behavior still happen on such.
Right.
So that's why like for our approach, usually we recommend at least two platforms. In this case, we can actually expand more. So either like ads, social service, or like SEO. Because SEO especially is very important for any website clients. So SEO, they bring more organic content. Also, like they have to, enhance the website experience with the like a knowledge, new knowledge, original knowledge that ads cannot deliver. So SEO create content. Do you agree?
Absolutely. And often I think about some of our favorite case studies, like the Cassia Cottage in Phuoc Island, where we track the guest behavior, whether it's for a restaurant booking at the Spice House or for rooms or any sort of query. And there'll be touch points. There'll be engagement through the Google organic search, engagement through ChatGPT, engagement through Instagram ad by way of clicks. And then finally, it's like that messenger query. And it's so easy to sort of celebrate that end touch point, that final converting touch point.
Yeah.
But it really does take multiple touch points and multiple channels, even throughout the PPC journey. It can start with a Google ad, followed by an engagement with a reel on Instagram, and then finally messaging or calling. So it really needs to be that comprehensive strategy.
Yeah. So with that, we bring to the next step is booking journey. So this is more relevant to the website, also like the message journey as well. So for the website, ideally, we want to make user complete the necessary step as soon as possible. So is it super the page load or the clicks behavior? Is it like easy to click? the step like are the step too redundant. So we want to try to cut down. So with ads, we have the ability to observe across the website, and we can usually our responsible our responsibility is give you recommendations. So we have the ability to see where do people drop at which step. Yeah. So we will say, okay, this step of add to cart to actually putting the credit card info is dropping. So is there any problem with that step? So obviously there's a lot more collaboration there. And with that fix, I hope we usually see an increase in success booking.
It is amazing what a difference the user experience can make. And it is interesting as marketers, sometimes I feel like we focus so much on the ad spend and we focus so much on the cost per click or the creative, but often the user experience, particularly that landing page experience, can be almost an afterthought for maybe some amateur marketing strategies and campaigns. But for us at Heads on Pillows, it's so important to think about that end-to-end journey and that end-to-end strategy because so much time is spent on the website. And if you're paying a dollar 50 per click, this can add up and you can spend thousands of dollars per month on ads, which is a great investment if you have everything in order on your website. You need to make sure your guest is landing on something that's easy, informative, and kind of as fast as possible to actually make the confirmation.
So we're here to help you on that. And I think that's give up to the last steps. So usually this step is quite complex as well. So we need to do a lot of like analysis on, okay, which ads content works, which audience works, and because we have the ability to target by locations, so which location works. So from there, we're gonna scale those elements accordingly.
Right.
So if an ad works super well, we're not gonna like increase more budget. Also like work on that ad content more. So how do we can improve that ad content for more conversion?
So basically, you could say that PPC is definitely not a set and forget strategy.
Yes.
We need to adapt. And I always think of that continuous improvement mentality. Even if a campaign's doing well, we can always fight for more and we can always optimize for more and build out more iterations of that high performing creative or further expand on those audiences that are bringing bookings. So we really want to aim for more at every single touch point.
Yeah. So so this is our actual Red Da Nang pre-launch campaign. So with this campaign, we have advertising for two services. One is hotel and one is F&B. We receive 1,000+ inquiry during the launching phase, and we have a huge success on F&B. I believe we're running around the end of the year, so this is like New Year's Eve came like the events and the Christmas event. So basically, we have support them to be fully booked. So there's a quite great conversion rate.
It's a pretty amazing outcome. Over 1,000 inquiries and then to convert 71%. It really is huge numbers from the F&B perspective, but also amazing for room bookings as well. But the outcome of this campaign was just like one milestone after another. It just kept getting better. And I think it really is a testament to having your targeting on point, being really responsive and adaptive and looking to build out what's working and stop what's not working. And ultimately, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. 71% conversion rate for leads is definitely standout. And it really is like an amazing positive case study with such an incredible property in Da Nang.
Yes. And a very pleasure experience working.
Yes. And of course, we have a lovely quote from the iconic GM, Nicole, or also curator, as they're called at Radisson Red brands around the world. So Nicole is kind enough to share her praise and her words of wisdom about working with us. We also have some video testimonials coming up soon where Nicole and I are chatting about her experience working with Heads on Pillows. So thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole. So to sum up with what we share and moving on to the Q&A part, we always start with strategize. So strategize include research, audience profiling, and messaging planning. And then activate is where the PPC do the executions work. We're setting up, we set the tracking, we're setting up the ad campaign. And then the analyze is where we do, like website like optimizations, recommendations, and then like data, any data coming in day, month, and months to know what to scale. And then obviously not all things works. They're gonna be good ad, bad ad, and then we need to refine. And then obviously the next part is scale. So you can see that basically this is a loop. So as Sam shared, we're not gonna just like set up once and then let it like floating around. This is our like routine. Yes.
Yeah, I think for me, the most exciting part of this graph is the refine section and what Tracy just touched on. At Heads on Pillows, we really pride ourselves on transparency. And anyone that knows PPC, anyone that knows marketing would know that it's a balance of art and science. But the art side of things, often it is a case of let's try this and see what happens. We will run ads. And sometimes we think it's the best ad content we could possibly have thought of, and it's going to make our client so rich and get so many conversions, and it flops. Other times we will have a series of ads and we think something's sort of okay, let's see how it goes, and it's super high performing. And that's why we need to refine our strategies and we need to work with that continuous improvement as well. And basically look to measure what's working, what's not working, and then build on that and ultimately scale.
Oh, exactly.
Yes.
So we have ChatGPT Ads Live. So now it's rolled out for only beta modes for AU, US, and UK. And I think upcoming we are recruiting clients in those markets to run, and hopefully there's one potential coming up, and we're gonna share with you soon. I think it's soon it's gonna roll out like globally, and Southeast Asia is on the watch.
This is super exciting. We've been doing GEO now for quite a while at Heads on Pillows and kind of waiting for the day that ChatGPT and AI search ads will launch. The day is here. It's happening in Australia, US, and UK. And as Tracy mentioned, we've got some sort of pilot clients and pilot projects in the works. It's only a matter of time by time this will launch in Southeast Asia, in Vietnam, in Thailand, and other key markets. So watch this space, but you're about to have a whole other field and a whole other channel to get in front of very qualified guests.
We're gonna keep you updated. So thank you for sharing. Now let's move on to the Q&A.
Thank you, Tracy. So, all right. Oh, wait.
Where's my mouse?
That. I got it. Okay,
Got it.
so maybe let's start from the top because it only feels fair. Oh, my AI note taker isn't transcribing this call. That's not a question. Let's scroll down a little bit.
So what is your biggest stage for? I think the first question is from Subasin, right?
Got it. Okay. So, what is your PPC strategy for a hotel that still have ongoing rate disparity issue?
Let me have that like opening for that question. So right now we understand there's gonna be rate disparity issue. So our approach gonna be obviously we have to implement that requirement from OTA. My recommendations for our client is giving a small what is that called? Amenities that could be provided for like example 1 hour early check-ins.
Yeah.
So as Sam shared in the beginning, those small touch point can make the like the user feel more appreciated, and you could actually implement like a loyalty program and advertise it.
Totally. I think this is where those low cost kind of add-ons come to play, when it can really drag your guests to come direct. Outside of holiday rentals, I think it's nearly every market where OTAs operate with hotels and resorts, they do enforce a rate disparity. It's a challenge, but we really encourage our clients to not stress too much about needing to match the price. That's kind of a given. You've got to do it. We also know some of the OTAs will be sneaky and undercut and all of these things. There's a lot of things that are out of our control. But what is in our control is how do we delight our guests? How do we give them that amazing experience from the first touch point? And what can we offer them? Simple things like a room upgrade or a early check-in or late checkout is often a really compelling incentive to get guests to book direct.
Yes. And with ads campaign or even like SEO, we can communicate that value added via ad copies or ad visual that we have shared with you before.
So I can see this question from Lenovo, which I think is Cassia Cottage. Is the average for the whole stay or nightly rate? I think that's referring to the bookings coming direct compared to OTAs. That is for the whole stay. So we would love to say nightly rate, but it's still a really healthy, bigger total booking value. And the reason for that is we often do see direct bookings are more long term, particularly with luxury hotels and resorts. We often see those bookings can be for like 6 nights, 7 nights, even 2 weeks when coming direct, whereas the OTA bookings do tend to skew to a little bit shorter.
Yes. Next question.
So we've got a question from Hein Nguyen. Do you have data on that? How much more likely for a guest to become a returning guest if they book direct? So I think this is based on the likelihood of increased loyalty from direct. We do have data on that. At Heads on Pillows, we've worked with over 200 amazing clients, everything from your boutique independent through to international hotel brands. And we do see that those direct bookings do tend to have increased loyalty compared to OTAs. And it's pretty simple. Why? Basically, you have your guest being part of your ecosystem from that very first touch point. But in addition to that, you have their customer data. So once you have your customer data, you can advertise to them. You can also add them to simple things like your mailing list.
Yes.
You can invite them to engage with your Instagram, your Facebook page. So it opens up so many more options outside of that stay or that check-in, check-out experience where you can actually speak directly to this guest and share your story and ultimately bring them into your ecosystem so they become a lifelong guest.
So I can add a little bit more on this on the data. So usually the ideal way of work is have the access of booking engine or like your real booking data. And from some clients, I'm not gonna name names here. So for some clients, we see for a month basis, they're gonna be around 30%-ish of people who coming back from like they have booked before. So that is only from the direct booking source only. So I think to like overall pictures, probably gonna be about 10% of the total bookings. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so it's a huge difference. Question from Ronnie, and a good question. What to do if your ads are driving only traffic but not generating direct bookings? This is a good one for you,
Yeah,
Tracy.
this is a good one. So usually there are gonna be a lot of challenge similar to this. So I'm gonna say ads could have increased your visibility. So they're gonna be a very like difficult concept to understand called attribution windows. So as Sam shared and like we have talked before, a person can see up to like 10 touch points before they actually book. So ads could be only one of the 10. So we basically want to show up in front of them, making them remember us, and when they are ready to book, they book. So obviously, I can confidently say ads or like SEO or social or like even EDM have an impact. And in my approach, I'm gonna recommend since the day you actually running ads, you can measure how many uplift bookings. So this is the concept is before you do a certain marketing activity, what is your average booking month on month? And since then, how it uplift your total bookings.
Right.
That is something I'm gonna contribute. So one, attributions,
Mhm.
that is a very technical concept. And next one is uplift.
Right. Really interesting. And in addition to that, we definitely acknowledge that sometimes ad campaigns will launch and traffic will be kind of the main metric. And we'll sort of see all of these clicks coming through, impressions, reach, and it might take some time to generate the bookings. And this is where that refine and data-driven approach becomes really important because it shouldn't just be set and forget. We shouldn't just launch ads and watch the clicks come in. It might be a case of the audience needs tweaking or adjusting, or the creative needs updating. And in addition to, of course, the attribution modeling and the way we track this and understanding that not necessarily that touch point will be the booking, but it could still drive one. It is important that we keep refining that strategy until we do start to demonstrate that return on investment and return on ad spend through real bookings.
Yes.
So this is a bit of a spicy question from Surya Mahidaka. Sorry if I pronounced that very wrongly. And it's a very good question. It's
Yes.
one that we encounter a lot, and we have a lot of different answers too. So Surya is asking for international chain hotels with a booking engine that's locked by corporate or the brand.com. How do you measure your success in driving direct bookings? I've got an answer for this, but I think you might have a different one, so I'm gonna let you go first.
Let me go first. So for a direct booking, depend on different market, they're gonna have a very different behavior. So we have a lot of clients in Australia, they prefer a website booking.
Yeah.
When we in Southeast Asia, not so much. They prefer OTA or even like message, especially Vietnam. I'm not so sure about Thailand, but probably in Vietnam, they message a lot.
Yeah.
So the way we can increase the direct booking is based on understanding your market behavior. So I understand that is our pain point as well. I understand the booking engine lots, but we gradually coming up with a measurement mapping. The concept before that I share with you guys, like uplifted booking. So that is something we want to put in place as well. So starting, obviously, like corporate gonna have their own digital marketing activity, but like each property, we like focus on one property, and like the brand is like multiple property. So when we start a very like centralized, like focus one property marketing, either like SEO or like social or like ads, how much is uplift? And usually we always want to have a more data, like data driven for analysis. So obviously we're gonna have a certain markets for the ad campaign.
Yeah.
So is it uplift on those market? So that is the approach we wanna measure. And usually the more data, the better. So I understand the booking engine is locked, but there's certain data of like it could be from the ad naming if possible. And we are starting to explore like integrations from offline data. So it could be great if there is shared customer list import back to the ad campaign. So they can start to like map out, oh, okay, we receive the signal from this person. And is it the same email, the same phone number? Is that something I don't know?
Right. So I guess the biggest takeaway from that is there's different strategies that we can implement. I won't name by name on the live webinar, but we do have some international hotel brands where we can track the quantity of bookings coming through, and that's something that is maybe a little bit experimental or a little bit in the sort of discovery phase for a lot of really talented conversion tracking specialists. but there are some abilities to actually link to that brand.com and feed that back through on tools like Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager. But for me, the biggest takeaway with all of our clients, both independent and international, different booking engines, is it's not a matter of if we can track success, it's just how. So it's often a case of assessing what data we can access and building a strategy around that to offer a clear indication of the return on investment. Cool.
Another spicy question.
Yes. Anucha, okay. How can we prevent wasted advertising spend on the uncompetitive clicks when OTAs display lower prices than our direct website in search results?
Okay.
Okay, Tracy, this one's for you.
So, um, so we have, I think this is for more of like Google Ads. So there is search campaign, and then now Google Ads has rolled out a options where you can like exclude any, like for example, your hotel name with booking.com, agoda.com, APNC. So basically, if they search your hotel name with an OTA, we won't show up for that. So
Right.
that is
I
one
didn't know
option.
about that. That's
Yes.
exciting.
Now they start to have that. That is one option. The other challenging one is because OTA also compete with the same brand keyword, regardless of naming their OTA or not. So we will try to the strategy. This is called something like competitor pricing and stuff. So basically, we need to monitor what the OTA is communicating. So, okay, what is the OTA communicating? Will we win by our advertising messaging? So it's gonna be depending on that. With the pricing, the price is belongs to a placement where it's like hotel, Google Hotel. So with the Google Hotel, we probably will try to like avoid showing up there and more on like Google Map and stuff. Yeah. So depending on our strategy on messaging as well.
Totally. And I do like the way Anucha has used the word prevent because in reality, we're never going to be able to completely eliminate these
Yes.
clicks. We do everything we can to reduce them, just like we do everything to reduce clicks from people that maybe don't have budget for a certain destination or a certain hotel or resort. So it's really about mitigating, preventing, and reducing. And there's so many different strategies that we can implement to do that and get more of those quality and qualified clicks.
Yes.
Which brings us to Ryan. We like this question. Could you share more about Naver? Does Naver use its own search engine or does it work similarly to Google? If it is different, how do you track traffic and performance data when running Naver ads? Good question.
I gonna answer it.
Go for
Okay,
it.
so Naver ads using their own search engine. Basically, Naver has Naver search. So it's what's quite similar to Google Ads. They have also search like kind of like blog posts. So that is a big thing in Korea. So right now the way it's measured is quite simple. Like it's similar to any other ad platform. We can like use tag tracking and then see, okay, this one coming from our ads or not, or is it like coming from a Naver profile business? So it's work quite similar, but it's a very separate platform.
Right. Interesting. And I know often in Korean market, it can sometimes be the travel bloggers and
Mm,
influencers that get prioritized over the brand website, which is why your PPC strategy on Naver is actually more important probably than any other channel
yes.
because there's no way a hotel website can compete with a really influential blogger organically. But with ads, you can show up when people are searching for you. So I think we've got time for one more question. So we'll scroll through here. Um, Supersin, ChatGPT ads in AU, US, UK is based on audience target or location of company that advertise. Excellent question.
Excellent
And
question.
probably something we should clarify.
Let me quickly in like introduce it. So right now they have ability to target based on design markets. So they are available for business in AU, US, and UK, but you have the ability to target AU, US, UK, as I remember, also Japan, Korea, or I think few more markets, but let me get back to you after this one. So it's not depend on the your company locations. They have a few, I think, under 10 market that you can target. And right now, the target ability is quite restricted. So you can target by country and state.
Right.
So you cannot target like for Google Ads and Meta Ads, they have ability to like 5 kilometers from the location you want. ChatGPT is not that limited.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Cool. So I know there's a few more questions. We're going to note them down, and I think we'll be able to get back to each and every one of you who's asked something really valuable. We really appreciate it. But Tracy needs to get back to optimizing for our clients,
Yeah.
and I need to get back to talking to our amazing clients. So the next webinar for Heads on Pillows will also be announced in a moment. But before we jump into that, we just want to give three kind of key takeaways. Tracy?
Okay. You need to audit your OTA dependency. So try to see how many percentage your booking or income coming from OTA and how much is from direct booking. Then direct your direct booking rates. This is quite complex and probably you want to discuss with us in future. So basically the conversion rate from your website. And then you can explore your first campaign, either your own or with us.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you are interested in working with Heads on Pillows, we will send out a recording of this webinar. But of course, you can reach us at headsonpillows.com, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, all the major channels. We're always happy to do a complimentary, sort of obligation-free discovery call and chat about your PPC strategies and what might work for your unique hotel or resort. Thank you everyone so much for joining us today. It's kind of ran just on time, and I'm really happy about that. I will let you know our next webinar will be really focused on the creative side of things and how to build out stunning social media content, branded content, and really shine what makes you special online. So watch this space. We'll be announcing it soon. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a happy weekend.
Bye.